Hey everyone, it is the 19th of February 2021. Wandavision episode 7 has premiered. We're going to be discussing it in spoilers, leaks, and all live. I am Greg Sanders, and joining me is Josh Doyle.
Hello.
So, I'm very excited. Hey, Harry. I want to kind of touch base with everyone. If you don't know, if you're not in the Discord, if you don't really follow any of the community tabs or anything like that on the channel, things should be getting, well, not should. Things are pretty much looking like they're going to go back to normal in Texas. We had been without power since like Sunday night is when it really started getting pretty choppy and it was all gone. And it was pretty touch and go there for a little bit. Really, really bad weather. As you can see, we are back. We are, of course, back to normal. Everything's fine. Lights are on. Power's on. We've got the heater running, and we actually finally have one faucet that has running water, so we can at least boil water and get things back to normal. I'm still trying to find out if my city is under a boil water notice because Texas isn't helpful, but everything is still going pretty good. Radioactive, Terry, Sean, Harry, hello everyone. I'm so excited to be here because it's normalcy. I'm very excited. We got up this morning. I was able to watch WandaVision. I thoroughly enjoyed it. The internet, Josh can attest to this. The internet was really choppy last night. I think everything's back to normal. It looks like everything's fine. If it does suddenly cut out, I really sincerely apologize, but we will get it hopefully set back up very quickly. But everything seems to be fine right now. I've ran a few tests before we started to go live just to try to make sure that it would be pretty stable. So, if you're new, if you're just dropping by, I want to stress this again. We're going to be diving into leaks. We're going to be diving into spoilers. There's going to be certain things I'm not discussing just because looking ahead, and I'll kind of explain that as we go. But you can rest assured, I'm not going to spoil anything from episode 9, and I'm not going to talk about any episode 9 leaks here in this video, so you're safe. Ford, Storm, Shirk, hey everyone. Okay, so we have Josh here. I'm getting my final notes together. Josh, I'm going to let you take the reins. What are your first off? What are your overall thoughts on this episode?
Uh, I thought it was really fun, and I thought Darcy and Vision were really funny together, and I just really enjoyed the episode. I thought, obviously, I did know the twist was coming.
Again, oh yes, I want to add that as an addendum. Terry, we're holding up really well. Thank you. We have a lot to go over. Trust me, we're going to get to a lot of this. But I want to say the episode 7 description, the episode 6 description, the episode 5, everything that we leaked was 100% on the money. I literally, if you've been with us, I literally described this episode verbatim. It was 100% on, which means that the other leaks that I have, I now trust 100%. There's a couple of things though I'm not going to talk about, but I'm going to acknowledge them a little bit, just to touch base. And because again, I want to give credit where credit's due. This individual is no doubt risking his job, sending me this information, and I really do appreciate it. So, hey, Kitten. Yes, I'm doing very well. Thank you for asking. Okay, Josh, what was your favorite part of the episode?
It had to be that little Agnes montage at the end.
With the song? I
Yeah,
love
it was
that.
great.
I mean, we knew that she was going to be revealed as Agatha, but the translation that we got didn't describe her getting like a sequence. So that was really good. That I loved that so much. And you can go back because we have proof of this when we talked about it. Josh and I were both right. She killed Sparky, which is just like
Which,
so twisted.
yeah, fuck her.
I'm not going to talk about 8 and 9 here in this video. I assure you, that's not going to be this video because to me that would be unfair. I am going to acknowledge it though. I'm going to acknowledge a couple of things that I've received information on, and that's as far as I'm going to go, because this is about episode 7, and I don't want to ruin some big moments. So we also got a quick scene. Dottie did finally appear again in this episode. Josh, did you have any like least favorite moments?
Uh, no, actually, it was a. I don't really have any least favorite moments from the entire show so far. It's all very
Yeah, I agree.
consistently good.
I don't. Yeah, I'm right there with you. I have no. I have no complaints about this episode. It was creepy though, especially at the end. I also liked, I mean, Agatha's reveal, her powers being purple, seeing her witch's den, so to speak. I loved all of that. We also got our first after or mid-credit scene, however you want to call it, which was Pietro popping up behind behind. I'm calling her Spectrum. She has her powers now. She's powered up. She's ready to go. I am calling her Spectrum. That is her current name in the comics, so that's what I'm going to refer to her as. And it is also what my source has continuously referred to her as, is Spectrum. I don't think that's lost in translation. So, Josh, now I have to say, because we're getting to that point. We're reaching the end. Do you
Yeah,
think Agatha answers to somebody?
100%.
Okay.
I know my percentages mean nothing at this point, but 100%.
100%. So there's two things I want to talk about before we jump ahead and I get to some of these messages. Right off the bat, if you go back to previous episodes, if you go back to our previous live streams, on several occasions, because I want to continue to touch base with everyone on this, on several occasions I alluded to the episode description for this episode describing something weird with Pietro, and I didn't want to talk about it because I thought it might be a mistranslation. And I didn't know if it was going to spoil what could be an exciting moment or reveal. The translation that was given to me, the translation that this individual provided, literally the only line he said about Pietro was for episode 7 that I was, very happy to hold back on, especially now because he didn't say it was an after credit scene. So I'm really happy I held back on it. He said Quicksilver sneaks up on Spectrum. And I thought that sounded odd because I was like, that's really, because again, there's no context to this. And I always thought that was a really odd description for him to give me. And I didn't know if something was lost in translation. It now completely makes sense, though. Because I totally get the sneaking up. But again, that's what I mean about some of this not having context to it. Some of this information that is translated, loosely translated into English, is hard to parse through. And that was one bit that I was like, I don't know what this means. So, what have we got going on? Bad thing about talking about episode 8 and 9 is that other people go around and say it everywhere. Yeah, exactly. Sword needs to recruit John Wick to avenge Sparky. Snooper's gonna snoop. Chili Flame, I'm calling her Photon. Harry Harris says Agatha is clearly a lackey. Chili Flame then says, imagine it's Nightmare and Mephisto, and they are a couple in the MCU. Oh my god, I'd love that. Can you imagine a sitcom starring Mephisto and Nightmare? I would pay for that. I would pay for that.
Yeah, that'd be hilarious.
100%, I'd love it.
China would love it as well.
Are you going to go by way? Yes, Quicksilver does. There is. Now, this is getting lost in translation because, again, this is why. I like to. My whole thing is when I share information, I want to parse through the bullshit. It is not said, because I have the translations from him directly. He never says Quicksilver does this, because, I wouldn't be surprised I wouldn't be surprised if it is Quicksilver. I would not be surprised if it is, but I got to tell you. He doesn't say in the translation it's Quicksilver who has the sweet the sweet dream scene. He says it is, and literally he says it because I always keep these notes up. He says sweet dreams, but not sweet dreams. I don't know what the hell that means. I know what it alludes to because of X-Men, but he doesn't say it's Quicksilver who does that. That's people extrapolating the leaks that Josh and I have been sharing. And, setting up their own expectations. Does that make sense, Josh?
Yeah.
I mean, Josh, I know you've
honest,
said it, because I want to, real quick, because I want to preface this. And again, if you're in Discord, you've seen Josh talk about it. But Josh, you have your own idea on what that might mean, so I'll let you share it.
The ideal situation for me, what I think would work better, is a kind of a parody of the Sweet Dreams scene with Speed rather than Quicksilver doing it.
Yeah. Shirk says, what is the whole Sweet Dreams thing? Josh, would you like to say where the Sweet Dreams thing comes from?
In X-Men Days of Future Past, I think it is. Quicksilver runs around the kitchen in the Pentagon and when breaking Magneto out, and everything slows down. Sweet Dreams starts playing, and then he makes everyone beat themselves up. It's really cool, actually. It's a pretty good scene.
It is. It's an incredible scene. So when we got that description that says "sweet dreams, but not sweet dreams," obviously translation that doesn't have a lot of context to it, but it is very clear that. Well, Apocalypse also has its own scene. Oh, hey, HA, which is of course our Ned Leeds, our guy in the chair.
Oh,
Uh,
yes.
but
Sweet
yeah,
Dreams was Apocalypse, wasn't it? And then it was Time in a Bottle in Next One Days in Future Past.
I got to be
Wasn't it?
honest, I don't remember which song played with which one. But Quicksilver has a scene in those movies in Apocalypse. He has a scene in Apocalypse, and didn't he have another one in Dark Phoenix?
Oh, I did not watch that movie more than 10 minutes.
Fair enough. Sweet Dreams was in Apocalypse, not Days of Future Past. Okay, there we go. And it's Dark Phoenix where he has a second one. No, Josh and I do not believe Agatha created the hex. I really don't believe that. I can't say anything else.
I really think she's an underling. I
Yeah,
don't know what you're referring to,
I know.
so I'm
Yeah.
gonna just.
Um, Nobody watched Dark Phoenix. So anyway,
Rightfully
when
so.
when the translation says "sweet dreams but not sweet dreams," he is referring, as far as Josh and I infer it, he is referring to that sequence from Apocalypse, and there is a similar sequence that will happen in this movie. And Josh has previously said that he thinks it'd be awesome if it was Speed who is involved in the scene.
I just think it'd be cool, and I think if you're gonna introduce a character from an alternate universe, it's better to kind of poke fun at it rather than straight up just do the same things they did in the alternate one.
Okay. Radioactive says, "Is Evans Quicksilver going to stick around past WandaVision?" Josh, what's your answer to
Uh,
that?
I would not count on it. I don't think
You
so.
don't count on it. I'm going to try to be as transparent with you as possible. I can't answer that. I can't answer that because I said I didn't want to spoil anything from 8 and 9. Uh, so yeah, I'm going to have to leave that alone. I'm going to have to be very careful because the last thing I want to do is slip up. And again, to be honest, Josh has seen me slip up. Because
Yep.
I'm the one who started this leak business. Well, Josh knows. Josh knows when we got our first WandaVision leak, and I pretty much I ruined that.
Yeah, what was it you leaked to me and a couple others in the Discord?
Oh, it was an accident. I didn't mean to.
Yeah, was it Quicksilver?
Yeah, yeah, when we were doing a pre-show, it was you, Kieran, and Liz, and I blurted out the Quicksilver reveal. Before anybody. I didn't even have the video or anything up, and I just blurted it out, which I felt really bad. Is Ebony an 8 or 9? Not that's referenced in any of the translations I have, but so, I mean, I can't reference it any further. But there is no reference to Ebony in any of the descriptions I have.
They
Will
did point out Sparky. So
They did point out Sparky. Will the kids age up? Will they grow into the role? The kids will age up. I don't. I think. I see. I'm walking a really big tightrope on how to answer stuff. Is the engineer Monica mentioned going to show up? Oh, okay. We got to talk about this. We got to talk about this. The engineer has not appeared yet. The aerospace engineer has not appeared. The aerospace engineer is a male character. He has not appeared. This comes directly from the individual who has translated. Okay, unless something major was lost in translation, he has not appeared. I cannot comment any further. I urge all of you to continue speculating. Of course, I will say. I'm being
this is
careful.
tricky.
It is. Oh, so if you don't know, I've been without internet for a while. So today we've been without everything. I was going through my emails. I haven't been able to go through all of them yet. I'm quite behind on emails. If anyone has emailed me who's watching, or if you've DM'd me anything, I do apologize. I'm going to slowly get back on schedule. I will say have received new information that I've gone through from the individual that I 100% I believe him now. Every description he's given me, everything's been accurate. I believe him. So this is my confirmation bias. I 100% believe this individual. He, through translating, tells me that the aerospace engineer was not in episode 7. He does say something. I am not going to read off what he said. Because I can't. If this is accurate, it would significantly ruin what I feel could be a great moment if this is accurately translated. So that's where I'm going to leave it. Do you think the twins will survive? Do I think so? Yes. Josh, do you think so?
I mean, they're not going to introduce 2 fan favorites and murder them.
Yeah, they're not. Storm Gamer says, plot twist, the engineer is Drax, and the reason we haven't seen him yet is because he's been standing still. That's great. That's a good one. That's funny.
You can tell them I laugh out loud at that.
Is the missing person Jimmy Woo looking for just as important as Monica's friend? Just as important? Like, do you mean a character we know?
Yeah, I think he's trying to poke it, From what you know, is it as big a deal? Without giving anything away, obviously.
If everything he's told me has been translated accurately, I don't think the missing person is going to be as big of a deal. If everything he sent me is accurate, to the best of being translated into English, I don't think so. Harry says Ian McKellen has a cameo, then Eric is DAs for the MCU's future. Interesting. Ebony probably got replaced with Senior Scratchy, or they gave him a new power for shapeshifting. Yeah, but there was a cat in episode 2. There was a cat. So, I mean, they could easily, wrap back around. I still think Senior Scratchy is someone.
Yeah, I think it's Doctor Strange. I've said it since the get-go. Just be so perfect.
We both
if,
have.
The
Since
wizard was the
episode
White
1.
Rabbit.
Okay, so we got to talk about Mephisto and Nightmare, and we got to talk about Al Pacino. So,
yeah.
HA asks, how did Pietro get into the Hex? Was it Agatha or a spoiler? I can't answer that.
I think you've answered it by not answering it.
I mean, I am going to do my best not to slip up. What the little bit of information I have for 8 and 9, I'm not going to spoil here because I feel like that would be that to me. This isn't the place to do that. This is like this is specifically episode 7, and I feel like those are major leaks that shouldn't just be dropped randomly. And I also worry. Again, we talked about this before, and Josh can attest to this. We really did just talk about it in our last WandaVision episode. Would you have wanted the Luke Skywalker, if you are a Star Wars fan, would you have wanted the Luke Skywalker cameo in Mandalorian spoiled for you?
No,
a lot of my viewers said no. So I have taken that to heart to just try to keep my mouth shut as best as I can.
Did you know that?
What?
Did that Luke Skywalker thing surprise you, or did you know?
It surprised me.
Oh, you must have lost your mind.
The only things that I knew about Mandalorian in advance, and that I knew with 100% certainty, was that they were going to be in the Slave One, which again I did a video for that Disney took down because I actually had footage of that too. But I knew about Boba Fett and the Slave One. I knew about Ahsoka, and I knew about Bo-Katan. Those are the things that I knew about, and that I tried to leak, and then Disney kind of went to town on my channel. Which is fascinating because apparently they don't give a shit about WandaVision leaks. It's really weird, the power of Star Wars.
Yeah.
Okay, Harry says, theoretically, if you travel faster than the speed of light, you could travel through time and space, so maybe Peter could cross over universes, which, of course, Peter being Pietro Maximoff. I will also say, just to point out, this episode's commercial talked about the Nexus. The Nexus is actually a thing in the Marvel Universe. The Nexus is a gateway between all the different multiverses, and this is our first reference to the Nexus. So we are getting there. Like, all of this is going somewhere. I think that's fair to say. I think that is fair to say. Dan the Man says, will I need a new pair of pants after episode 8? I think so. It depends on... I always say this, like... If you are a Marvel fan, like for me, Marvel Comics, like if you followed Marvel, even whether it's the MCU or whatever, there are certain things that are going to happen in these last 2 episodes that I feel like are going to, and maybe I'm wrong, maybe I just have my pulse on different, on the comics or whatever, but like there are moments in 8 and 9 that I think are going to really excite people. I mean, I really legitimately believe that. Beyond that, I mean... I also want to say, always manage your expectations. Always manage your expectations. Don't get too wild and crazy. That's why I always try to talk about leaks and these rumors. I always try to be reasonable. I believe what I believe, and I know other people will believe what they believe because, I know how the rumors and leaks work, and I know everybody has their own confirmation biases, and I know everybody has their sources who they trust and the ones that they question, and that's fair. But I'm very excited. Harry, I highly recommend. Now, I highly, highly, highly recommend for 8 and 9, you do not get online at all. Watch the episode as soon as you can. For both of them. Legitimately. Do not have notifications on if you're not able to watch WandaVision in a reasonable amount of time. That's it. I mean, that's what I have to tell you. You don't want these last 2 episodes ruined by a brief description, by a YouTube thumbnail, or by really crappy pictures. Just go. You don't want it that way. You really don't. If Evan Peters does actually stay as Quicksilver for the future of the MCU, it will be great to see him in a modernized comic design. I do agree. Yes. Will it be an hour long? Asks Kitten. I got to be honest. I don't have exact. I don't have exact timestamps from him. All I kind of get is these descriptions. That's it. And I get. He did say, but again, I have to urge. I don't know what this means in terms of translations, and we talked about this last week as well. The only reference to time or length that I've ever gotten from him is for episode 9, and he called it or at least the translation, again, whether or not something was lost, referred to it as double-sized. I really like, but again, I keep urging people, manage expectations, because this is all coming through very poor translations. I have to continuously remind everyone about that. How much action minute-wise do you expect for the finale? Oh, that's... Josh, what do you think? How would you answer that?
Well, I always assumed that the last 2 episodes were going to be where the action really ramps up, so I'd expect most of the last couple episodes to be
Hey, Zachary. Yes, Vision and Darcy teaming up. I loved it. I loved them talking to the camera. I loved the whole shaky cam kind of vibe. Let's see... So, Terry says, it's kind of funny how the sword agents within the Hex are a circus act with Darcy as the escapist. I did. I agree. I love that. H.A., or I'm going to call you Ned. Ned says, I know how to manage my expectations after Cyberpunk. Is Monica going to have her comic suit soon? Yes. Yeah. Not that I know of in this series, but I have seen... I have seen her concept art, and it looks incredible. Now, again, how much that translates, the art translates to her final actual physical design, but it looks great. She's going to be incredible in Captain Marvel 2. And, again, who knows, you might see her sooner. While Wanda was... Dumble, that's interesting. He didn't, though, unfortunately. Vision did not get to the twins in time. So, Adam Stewart says, I got a feeling Agatha is taking the kids to Ralph, a.k.a. Mephisto. That's interesting. Josh, what do you think? Because I can't say anything.
I always kind of thought that the mystery surrounding Ralph was that she was kind of working like in partnership with Mephisto. So I would have assumed that yeah, since the kids have vanished, she's probably taken them to Mephisto, whether
Oh,
that's
okay.
Ralph or not.
Now, so you believe that the villain is Mephisto, not Nightmare. What's your
I
let's put it this way. What's your percentage on Mephisto and what's your percentage on Nightmare?
I it's 50-50, but like I'd prefer Mephisto.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. I would prefer Mephisto as well. That's all I'll say on that. Oh, no problem, Ned. You have a good night. I know, yeah, it is late where you are. Liz. Hey, Liz. Liz asks, do you think there will be more in-credit scenes going forward? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I recommend sticking around just in case. Dumble says, I think that Scratchy is Mephisto because it is a stage name of Mephisto. Interesting. Stormgamer says, I thought they were implying that Agatha turned the kids into the Bunny and the Fly. No, they were not. The bunny's been there from the beginning. The bunny was even there when the kids were there. It wasn't a fly. It was a cicada, which I urge you to search up cicadas, and maybe you'll get a clue. That's all I'm going to say. What happened with the engineer? The engineer did not appear in this episode. He did not appear in this episode. So, Josh, I'm gonna level you a few questions, okay? So, first off, on averages, Josh, do you think the aerospace engineer is Reed Richards?
Yeah, stick with my instincts. Yeah, I think it is.
So you think the aerospace engineer is Reed Richards? What's your percentage?
I hate these ones because I'm always wrong. 60. I did say 110 yesterday.
You did say 110 yesterday, so you're at 60.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I'll get back to some other questions. Let's see. Will Agatha get her signature gray hair? I don't think so. If she does, great, but I don't think so. That's not in like her. She's not described with any specific hair color in the descriptions I have. Terry says the commercial with the Yo Magic from last week now comes into perspective. Well, yeah, and again, that's something that Josh and I both talked about. I still think there's a reveal waiting in the wings there, but you know. Dumblebrick says, I wondered what the horn bones were in Agatha's cabinet in the background. Your opinions? I mean, I kind of assumed they were, demons. I really did. Liz says, how is Agatha both the cameraman for Wanda and an interviewee in her house? I think Agatha answers to somebody. Why do you think Sword had the file name of the mutant Ray Johnson in WandaVision? A lot of people are expecting more Weapon X hints in Falcon and Winter Soldier. I do too. I expect that there's going to be more expansion. I've heard a couple of things, but I've heard a couple of things. This isn't the place to talk about them though, because I feel like that would be unfair to people. So what happens with Quicksilver? I can't answer that. I can't. I apologize. I feel like it'd be unfair to people. Is the book The Darkhold? I think so, but it's not in any of my translated descriptions, so that's all I can say to that. How long does the actress that played Wanda see herself playing the character? She said she could see herself playing her for years to come. That's literally verbatim her statement.
She did say that she was thinking of having kids at one point, though, right?
She did say she was thinking of having kids, and if she did have kids, she would take time off, but that hasn't happened yet. My question is, couldn't this whole mess have been solved as Sword just call for the remaining Avengers to try and talk to Wanda? Not exactly. WandaVision's happening concurrently with a lot of different events. So, like, nobody's able to really help each other right now. Like, everything that's happening right now in the MCU after Endgame is all happening really close to each other in the timeline. Like, Marvel is slowing down the timeline dramatically.
Also, are the Avengers even a thing anymore?
Depends on your point of view.
That is just ridiculously ominous.
I can't help it. It depends on your point of view. Is Sword essentially the new Shield in the MCU? No. No. Um, let's see. I didn't get back to my. Okay, so Reed Richards, you said 60%, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm Diamond Hands. I'm just going to say 100%. What's your percent? Do you think if Reed Richards appears, he'll be played by John Krasinski?
Yeah, yeah, I do. I don't think they'd go. I mean, it's very possible they would go for somewhere else.
Do
But
you think all they would need to do is have John Krasinski walk on screen and people would know?
if he had the little white sideburns,
Even if
yeah.
he didn't, I'm being honest. I think they would. I think the audience would immediately know at this point. I mean, did you see in America, John Krasinski was the #1 trending topic as Reed Richards? That was it. That was the #1 trending topic on Twitter. That's incredible. So okay, we're gonna jump back. Terry says, do you think that bigger the hex, the more power is drained to feed the tendrils under Agatha Cave? I think so, yeah. I mean, I do believe so. But they could at least have found one Avenger, says Stormgamer. Interesting. Janimal says, I love how the show is creepy in a fun, over-the-top way. It makes it really hard to know how to feel about what's going on. Adam Stewart says, oh, and who is the villain in Hawkeye? Is it the clown? I do believe it is. Hey, Ronnie. Everybody agrees we need John as Reed Richards. Harry Harris says he thinks the aerospace engineer will be Blue Marvel or Hank McCoy. Which, of course, if you don't know, Hank McCoy is the Beast from the X-Men. Those are interesting ones, especially Blue Marvel. Blue Marvel's one that I talked about in the Discord as well. Could Billy and Tommy be friends with Franklin Richards in the MCU? Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, the door's wide open for that now. Okay, so now, Josh, do you think Al
Yes.
Pacino is playing Mephisto?
Oh God. Is that like? I'm confused where the Al Pacino thing has come from. Is he 100% in it?
No, he's not. So this comes from Paul Bettany has said that he had the privilege of working with an actor on WandaVision that has not leaked out, has never been revealed, and it is an actor he has admired his entire life and wanted to work with his entire life. If you wind the clocks back to several interviews, one from Age of Ultron and one even before that, when Paul Bettany was doing press decades ago, Paul Bettany has said on several occasions that one of the actors he dreams of working with the most is Al Pacino, and that's where it comes from. Then Al Pacino revealed he actually did speak with Kevin Feige last year.
Well, I think he'd be a really good pick for Mephisto, and I think Kevin Feige would be able to see that if he did meet with Al Pacino. So, I'd say yeah, it's possible, very possible.
But you are of the mindset now. You no longer believe Pietro is Mephisto or Nightmare.
Yeah, no, I don't. Just
Okay.
because whatever. Like again, I have no idea what it was exactly Agnes did to him, but she did something. And whether it was like some sort of disguising, I don't know.
Real quick, Dumble, I want to say this. Now, Magneto is something that's a crazy rumor that we broke a month and a half ago now, and it's one that I've always put in the wild rumor tab, but I want it to happen. To be fair, though, Paul Bettany has worked with Ian McKellen. Paul Bettany did work with Ian McKellen, so that would not be the actor Paul Bettany is referring to. That doesn't mean we can't see a Magneto cameo. It doesn't mean it's not possible, but that would not be the actor Paul Bettany is referencing here, because Paul Bettany and Ian McKellen did work together. So that rules that out. And again, it goes right back to, Paul Bettany has he really did name off Al Pacino, and then Al Pacino revealed he spoke with Marvel, and so it just kind of gets everything turning, and then about Mephisto. If it is Mephisto or Nightmare, do you think it's going to be, Josh, do you think it's going to be played by an actor people will recognize?
Yeah, I feel like it would be. I feel like they usually go with big actors for villains.
Well, yeah, look at Robert Redford. Oh gosh, Why am I forgetting some of the actors who played villains?
Kate Blanchett.
Yeah, Kate Blanchett, exactly. And
No, I'm doing it.
yeah, I know. I feel bad. I feel really bad now. For next week,
I mean,
will we
Jeff
get
Bridges.
a big reveal? In my opinion, yes. It depends on how much of a. It depends on your level of fandom and what excites you, right? So, what happens next week, you might not have any. It might mean nothing to you. To me, based on the translations that this individual has sent me, I think. I mean, I think I think episode 8 has a good moment. I think that's it. I think that's fair to say. Paul could mean John. No, Paul couldn't mean John Krasinski. John Krasinski is younger than Paul. Not only is John Krasinski younger than Paul, again, we have to, we got to take him at his word. Paul Bettany said this is an actor he has dreamed of working with his entire life, and John Krasinski is younger. It doesn't work for me. Was this episode sitcom based on Office and Modern Family? Yes, it was. Would Mephisto or Nightmare be practical or CGI? I think it's going to be a little bit of both. Is what I would believe. What do you think? What do you think, Josh, on that practical CGI combination?
If it's Al Pacino, I reckon it'll be largely CGI because he's 80 years old. That man cannot do like action.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I respect that. But even if it's not Al Pacino, Nightmare, Mephisto, whatever, like how do you think they would likely be presented?
I mean, they could make because again, I'm still attached to it being Mephisto, even if it isn't.
Fair enough.
If they made him like huge, I guess it would have to be CGI. But for any they were doing like him like sat on a big throne or something, just chilling. I guess it could be practical.
Okay. Fair enough. So, Dumblebrick says, "Do you think that Mephisto can transfigure?" Yeah, I do. I absolutely do. So, Josh, what do you think about a potential Spider-Man cameo?
I think it would work. It would make sense given that it's meant to be this is meant to be part of the trilogy, that kind of multiverse trilogy that a Spider-Man movie is included in.
Exactly. And
Although
okay.
when you say a Spider-Man cameo, do you?
I'm not locking it to just Tom Holland. No.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. I got to be really careful. And again, you'll notice I'm asking Josh all these averages because
You're biased.
I am. I'm biased. I have to be really careful. And I have my wife over here just like staring at me like I was getting a death stare like, you can't slip up right now. And I'm like, I know I can't. Because even my wife, like, she refuses to let me tell her anything that I know. She's like, I don't want to know it. This is your business if you choose to read everything that what you're sent, but I don't want to know it because I'm watching week to week. So like, I've not had the privilege of uttering this to anyone. And then at the same time, I'm trying to respect it getting out into the internet. And because the last time I leaked something really big, it was in the comments and questions of every other video. And I'm going to feel really bad if I do something and that happens. So I'm really wrestling with a lot right now because the problem is that people don't keep the spoiler leak discussions to a specific video, and they'll talk about it everywhere, which is, again, it's the internet, it's free reign. You do you. And if that information's already out there, again, I urge you, just don't share it. You don't share it freely. Like, keep it to wherever you find it, I mean to say, because it is depending on your fandom, this could be a Luke Skywalker moment for you. It could be. I can't speak for everybody. I can't speak for your level of fandom. I can't speak to what excites you or like what you think would be cool developments. Let's see. What if Mephisto or Nightmare in the MCU were female? Oh, that's interesting. Ricky says probably it'll be a multiverse Spider-Man and confirm the whole Spider-Man 3 multiverse part. Oh, that's interesting. Josh, what do you think about both of those? What do you think Nightmare or Mephisto could be female?
I mean, for everything, like, it could be genderless. Never know.
Well, yeah, cosmic
Well,
entity. It doesn't necessarily have
They
to
don't exactly
ascribe
need
to a
to
gender.
reproduce.
Adam Stewart says, so the missing kids set photo in Spider-Man 3 is coming together from WandaVision. Interesting. I'm trying to...
You're hating this, aren't you?
Dumblebricks did not want Luke Skywalker. They wanted Ezra Bridger. See, that's what I mean. Like, it's going to vary to everybody. Like, Luke Skywalker was a big deal for me. It wasn't going to be a big deal for other people. And so it's really difficult because, like, it always depends on where your fandom is. That's why I say, you know, keep your expectations in check because you're hearing my perspective, right? My perspective has biases. For one, I'm dealing with translations from a person that I trust implicitly. I don't know this individual but beyond these emails at all. I trusted implicitly, though. That might be foolish of me, but none of it's been wrong so far, right? And so that's where my perspective's going. So then on top of that, when you take information from 8 and 9, and this is in episode 7, and yeah, I'm cool discussing general leaks and spoilers and things like that. I don't mind it. But what I will say is, from my perspective, there are reveals and there are story decisions that are going to happen in these next 2 episodes that I think is impactful for fans. And so it's like it's really it is a big deal. It's a big deal for me to just try to be careful. Will this reveal be a hero or a villain? I can't answer that. I know because as we start getting more and more more and more like specific, it becomes like a Guess Who game. And the closer we get to Guess Who, the closer someone's going to ask something, and I slip up or I say something and I fuck it up because that's what it does. It becomes Guess Who. What did you think of Agatha's reveal? Loved it. Now again, it was in our leak, so there's always that kind of ebb and flow. Like, oh, okay, I knew this was coming, and I was just waiting for the shoe to drop. I knew it was in the descriptions. I knew it was coming. The only thing that wasn't in our leak descriptions was that she got her own theme song, which again, I want to reiterate. There is stuff missing from these descriptions I have. That wasn't there. Now, again, you could argue whether or not that was significant spoiler or leak, so that detail wasn't important for him to, give out and share. But it is important to say, Agatha's reveal was in our descriptions, but not the theme song. Do you see Easter eggs playing? Do you see it playing out past WandaVision? Yes, I do. I really do. Were there any villains that were going to be used in the MCU that never saw the big screen? Red Hulk. I know that for a fact. Red Hulk was a villain that was concepted. He was a part of several scripts, and he was abandoned. Is Wanda going to get her new costume soon from the promos? I mean, I would say yes, but I also have to remind you, in the descriptions I have, like, he doesn't point out a specific costume. Like, he doesn't stop. Give me a minute. I'm not going to read and talk because I don't want to slip up. But yeah, he doesn't. There's not like a paragraph or anything like that describes her costume. But I feel, the promos, there's only 2 episodes left, so it's got to come around. And it does line up. I can see where it fits in based on some of the descriptions I have, but like there's no paragraph where he stops and goes, "Oh, hey, this is when she gets her new outfit." Like he's never given me a description like that. No, Dan, I didn't say that. I didn't say we're getting 3 major character surprise reveals in episode 8. I didn't say that. There's 2 episodes left, and I'm being very vague and careful because I don't want to. I don't want you to be waiting for a moment expecting it because I think that ruins the surprise. So I'm just trying to be as careful as I can because, again, this is episode 7. I don't want to ruin too much. Do you think the missing person on the milk carton was someone in the plot? Oh, interesting question. Aiden says, do you think that Vision will make it past WandaVision? Interesting question. Was the post-credit scene in the description? Yes and no. If you missed it at the top of the show, we discussed it. If you've been following us, I had been describing that there was a description about Quicksilver that I thought might be a mistranslation because it sounded weird. In that description, he said Pietro sneaks up on Spectrum, and I was like, that has no context, and that I don't know what that could exactly mean, and if it's a surprise or if something happens with that, I don't want to ruin it for people. But when he said that, when he listed that in his descriptions, he did not list it as a post-credit scene. So I have to be honest, some of this, based on it actually being a post-credit scene, I now have to stop and go, some of this could be post-credit scenes as well, depending on the reveal. That's all I'm going to say. If MODOK can control minds, and then Dumblebrick says, could he be the villain? That's an interesting... telepathy, that's interesting. Oh, so long, Dumble. The photo of Baby Vision will go down as one of the most cursed images ever. Venom, you missed quite a lot, to be honest. We've kind of gone through it. Dan the Man says, I'm just putting it together, brothers. Monica's friend, Paul Bettany, favorite actor, Spider-Man hint. Yeah, that's interesting. I am not saying anything else, though. Adam says, I get a feeling Evan Peters is staying longer than WandaVision. Interesting, Adam. That's very interesting. What do you think about that, Josh?
I kind of hope he doesn't.
You hope Evan Peters does not stick around, okay?
I love Evan Peters. I really do.
My wife just shouted she would like Evan Peters to stick around.
But I just feel bad for Aaron Taylor Johnson. Could you imagine how sad he'd be if he's just permanently replaced by Evan Peters?
No, because Aaron Taylor Johnson did not want to come back.
Didn't he?
Where did you hear he did?
I didn't hear he did. I just
okay, because I was going to say,
no.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't think it's like any kind of asshole thing. I'm about to get a little businessy and political. Are you okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay. Age of Ultron was a shit movie to work on. I've heard so many stories from some of the crew. I mean, because again, I knew people who worked on that film, and they were really bothered by Josh Whedon and his performance. I'm not surprised anymore because of everything coming out about Josh Whedon. And again, if you've been following this channel for a couple of years, you know I've never had nice things to say about Whedon. I've always said he was pretty much a fake and he was an asshole, and I stand by those statements. But the people on Age of Ultron had a really bad time. And without diving it into it any further, I'll leave it at that. But as far as I know, as far as the stories that I've heard, Aaron Taylor Johnson wasn't really too keen to come back into this after what went on behind the scenes of Age of Ultron. Will Falcon and Winter Soldier have Omega Red? Again, I've been putting it in wild spoilers. Wild rumors. Not wild spoilers. I've been putting it in wild rumors. I gotta be careful. I have heard that Omega Red is in the show, but I haven't had enough proof. It's not. For me, I haven't had enough proof to say it's a leak. To me, it's a wild rumor. But I know about Madripoor. I know about the symbols of the samurai. I know about a lot. I've seen a lot of it, but Omega Red is the one thing I haven't seen, and so I'm it's going to be a rumor until someone's willing to show me something. So what's your take on all the commercials from 1 to 7? They have more Easter eggs than just recapping Wanda's past. Do you agree? Oh, yeah, I do. 100%. The Easter eggs have a lot of references, but at their key point, they do reference very significant points of Wanda's past. I mean, they go through her trauma. It is her dealing with her trauma in a very interesting way. But at the same time, it's also building up to a larger story. Whether you look at Yo Magic. Now, if you interpret Yo Magic, the shark being Agatha, that's interesting. Josh and I, of course, speculated that the shark represented a different individual previously. And then with this week, Nexus, not only is it about Wanda's depression and her expanding powers, her overwhelming powers, but at the same time, literally Nexus is the gateway to the multiverse in the Marvel Comics. So yet again, it's another stepping stone of these walls breaking down. And further leading to the expansion of Wanda's hex and her red wave. Maybe I shouldn't use the term red wave, but that's I won't say anything further than that. Oh, Venom. Interesting. About Doctor Strange. That's very interesting. Is Marvel going to do anything with Jessica Jones and Punisher? Punisher, yes. As I 100% yes, Punisher. Jessica Jones, I've heard a couple of things, but it's not concrete enough. I will say, I heard, I did hear that Jessica Jones was it was a part of the pitch for She-Hulk, so we could see Jessica there if that ends up being true. But I put that in wild rumors when we talked about it, and I'm keeping it in wild rumors for now. But I am paying attention to see who pops into Atlanta. And again, to each their own on if you think them being in Atlanta means anything, but I pay attention to stuff like that. Let's see. When the twins were playing video games, they were playing on the GameCube. Yes, they were. X3, ideal ending for MCU. Oh, I missed this. Sorry, LRG, I missed this post earlier. Going to bring up the X-Men ending I talked about last time and how you would do for the opening and ending from an X-Men sequel film. Okay, so that's interesting. So previously we talked about how I would, about the X-Men films and what we would do for them, and I talked about what I would do. And one of the things I would do in the first X-Men film, just to kind of catch you up before we touch base on going further, is Magneto would just be an ominous presence, sort of like in X-Men Evolution. Like, he would not be a major full player in the first X-Men movie. It would be building up the first class and establishing. The first X-Men film would end, and the post-credit scene would pan up into space, reveal Asteroid M, and reveal Magneto and his acolytes. And it would just be Magneto completely shrouded. Well, his face shrouded. You would see his costume and his eyes would glow, and that would be the post-credit ending to the first X-Men film. The second X-Men film, I think, would be really awesome, depending on how quickly they want to move and how quickly they want to expand the X-Men universe, which, again, I think would be very distinct to keep this moving, would be the second X-Men film would end with Xavier establishing Krakoa, which, again, is how I pronounce it. It's probably wrong, but that's what I would do in the second X-Men film. I would have Xavier establishing Krakoa. Because, hang on a second. Dan the Man says, will Tom Holland be the protector of the multiverse while Toby or Andrew stick around? That's interesting. I wouldn't say protector of the multiverse, though. That role might be fulfilled by someone else from Marvel Comics, and that is, I will leave it at that. Because the actor for Vision has never acted with Benedict Cumberbatch. In an interview, he said he had always wanted to be in a film with this special person, so that's why I think Doctor Strange could be it. That's reasonable, but I don't believe so, because Paul Bettany also said that it was an actor he wanted to work with his entire life. I believe Benedict Cumberbatch, I just believe they're too close to the same age for it to be someone that Paul Bettany has wanted to work with his entire life. And we also, and again, just wrapping back around, he has already worked with Ian McKellen, just to keep everyone on toes about that. There's a rumor about Daredevil showing up in Secret Invasion. Wanted to know your take on it. There is? No, I haven't heard that. I'm going to put that in wild rumor for now. Like, nothing's come my way that I would trust that as proof. But again, that's my confirmation bias. To each their own. Who would you cast as Pyro? Oh, that's tough. I don't know. I only think about, like, the big main players. How do you feel about the Cruella comparison to the Joker solo film? I mean, I understand where it's coming from, but I don't know. Cruella doesn't seem like a very inspired film to me, and it's not going to be something... I mean, I'm not jumping to the theaters to see it. I was never going to jump to the theaters to see it. I mean, it's that same perspective of how you see the Joker and how you see Cruella, but it's like, I don't care. I really don't. Josh, what do you think?
I'll probably just watch it because I like Emma Stone, and
Fair enough.
it looks okay, to be fair. It doesn't look bad, so I'll give it a go.
Well, I see where you're coming from, Harry, but I don't see anybody who'd call that a rumor. Batman would never appear in Spider-Man 3. So it's a matter of taking information, taking your own biases, the people you believe versus the sources you believe, and you have to extrapolate a lot of that information and come to conclusions. Venom says he wants to see Hyperion in a Marvel movie to show that Marvel's got strong characters too. I really want to see Hyperion. I agree with you. Hyperion and Sentry, I want to see them. Agatha, even in the comics, has always been kind of villainous. Like she's not like a straight mustache trolling villain, but she is a villain even in the comics. She does bad things. She does good things. I do believe though, Josh, you've said that Agatha is answering to someone, that you think she is.
Yeah, even from like
Out of water.
the comics and everything with Agatha, I've always kind of seen her as like the side piece to a bigger villain.
Yeah. And
So I
Acid
don't
says
think
the
they've-
postman is suspect.
He is, to be fair.
Any chance
But yeah,
Dottie could be Clea? I will say that I had heard that they had cast Clea, and I'll leave it at that. Aiden says there was an Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. reference in Episode 2 with the Hydra soak ad because there was a mind-controlling soap made by Hydra in Season 4 in an alternative reality. Yeah, you could also take that as an Easter egg for that as well, and then also it's just very much so Hydra, very much in your face. I don't know if we'll see the Squadron. I got to be honest. The Squadron Supreme has never been referenced in anything I've heard. But they are from a different multiverse. Yes, you are right about that. I wouldn't do a sequel to the Gotham series. I would move away from that and do something completely original. Has Doctor Strange 2 cast a villain yet? As far as I know, yes. But I'll have to leave it at that. Doctor Strange 2 is in the thralls of filming. They've done a lot of filming already, and I know that there's been some big secrets on set and some hidden actors transferred to and fro. Which again, I guess will lead me to my last little bit of information, and this is the only leak that I'm going to touch on. You could put this in the wild spoilers, or wild rumors, or you can put this in a leak tab. Again, it's your own confirmation, and I'm going to be. This is all I know, but I will say, and we talked about this. We talked about this in our previous. We talked about this in the Discord, and that is when WandaVision was filming. There was an actor who only filmed for 1 day on set. This actor was transported in an unmarked van. This actor was covered head to toe. Their identity wasn't revealed, and they filmed on a closed set. Most of the crew were not allowed around when this actor filmed. You could, if you want to, you could say, and I've had someone DM me this already saying that, but that could have been Evan Peters. And you're right. It could have been Evan Peters. 100%. I will give you that. Evan Peters, though, didn't film for just 1 day. You know what I'm saying? I mean, again, to each their own. But I want to say that and leave that out. Just to put that out there. Was it confirmed? Yes, Danny Elfman is scoring Multiverse of Madness. Yes, I did watch the show Heroes. My daughter is named Sylar, Sylar. I named her after the brain-eating serial killer from the show. Who do you think Tom Cruise will play, or what about Keanu Reeves? I think Keanu Reeves would be Adam Warlock or Silver Surfer, in my opinion. I think that's who I would cast him as. And then radioactive cosmic rays. When do you expect some casting and news overall for MCU Fantastic Four? That is an interesting question, and I'm not going to answer that right now at all. Keanu Reeves has got to be the new Ghost Rider. That's fair. Well, yeah. My daughter is named Sylar. My son is named Anakin. So it's like they're both named after anti-heroes, because Sylar and Anakin both deal with redemption arcs. Who is Doctor Strange 2 villain? Mordo or Nightmare? It is definitely Mordo. I'm not going to comment anymore until we finish up WandaVision. Let's leave it at just at least not in this episode. I don't think it'd be fair to people. But I'm not going to comment anymore on that. I don't. Do you see the Web Warriors coming into the MCU? Not as the Web Warriors, but I do. I do believe we're going to see, yeah, Spider people. That's fair? That's fair to say. Okay, we've hit an hour. I'm out of water here. I'm going to have to go boil some more water. Any chance we're going to hear some news on Namor? Yeah. If I understand if I understand some of the news that's in my emails, if I understand some of the things people are telling me, I do think we're going to hear about Namor relatively soon. I previously thought that they were casting for Doctor Doom. I now believe that they may be casting for Namor, but that's information. We'll talk about that on Monday, unless there's breaking news this weekend, because I'll get into some of this once I've gone through my emails and organized some of these leaks versus rumors and where they kind of lay, in my opinion. But there is a casting call that's gone out. It's either, in my opinion, it's either for Namor or Doctor Doom. That's what I'll say. Will we be pleased with Black Panther 2? Yes, you will. I have very confident information that about the original script for Black Panther 2. I know it's been rewritten, but I know, as far as I understand it, some things are sticking around. Yeah, you're gonna love the second Black Panther film. It's going to be a little bittersweet, but you're going to love it. They're doing a lot for Black Panther 2 right now. It's actually going to start filming relatively soon, as long as the crisis allows it. Okay, yeah, I think I'm comfortable there. We're going to cut here. So, I want to thank all of you for joining and dropping us by. It means so much to me. I really do appreciate it. And it's great to bring normalcy back in. And again, your birthday's Sunday. I want to wish Harry an early birthday. If there is any breaking news, we'll be back this weekend. And I might have a special episode this weekend just because of how little we've had streams this week. And, just to get things going back to normal. Saturday or Sunday, though, a lot of this is still up in the air. So I might do something this weekend. Otherwise, on Monday, everything goes back to normal. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you for, giving me a good time and letting me settle back in. I really do appreciate it. This has been so much fun. To my YouTube members, thank you so much for your support. It means the world to me. To all of my subscribers and commenters, thank you so much. Thank you for liking the video. Thank you for sharing it. It really does help a great deal. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. If you're in dangerous weather, do continue to stay safe. Do your best to stay warm. Make sure you've got water. That's the big thing. Make sure you've got water. And again, make sure you're boiling your water right now just to be absolutely safe. All of you, thank you all so much for your well wishes. I really do appreciate it. It means a lot to me. Thank you so much. And we will talk to you again very soon. So, bye, everyone.